Alright guys, I've been looking for a video on how to connect Fatshark goggles here to different FPV setups. There hasn't been much on YouTube that I've found. Originally I had bought this here module that goes into the goggles with a immersion RC immersion RC 600 milliwatt transmitter. However, when tightening the transmitter, I had this happen where it breaks off. I didn't even tighten it too much with force. It snapped off this way based on a bad pad on there, and it's garbage. It's a $65 paperweight. So, with that said, I did get a chance to kind of view a little bit from this and the Immersion RC transmitter, and I was not overly impressed. I felt like this thing had a lot of interference no matter what channel I put it on. I was 300 feet up in the air with my hexcopter, and it was almost unviewable. I had to take the goggles off a couple times, and I was directly underneath it. I was using the SpiroNet antenna, and from what I've heard, these things are just as good as anything that people make or any of the cloverleafs. It is a cloverleaf inside here, but this is what I was using, and I still felt that this was not sensitive enough. And I have seen Ben Simpson, RC Model Reviews, review these. This is the newer version, but he does say that they're not very sensitive, and I second that. I did not like this at all. So I'm going to put that aside, and I'm going to talk about the new system I got here. This new system is still 5.8 gigahertz. It's a 500 milliwatt system. Ben reviewed these as well with other AV transmitters that run on 5.8 gigahertz, and he basically said they're okay, that they're not doing much more than the 200 boss cams, but this is the one I decided to get, and there is some heat loss, obviously. The fans here, when you plug it in, there's resistors on the board here that get kind of hot, but I am much happier with just quick testing with these two devices rather than those two devices. The devices themselves, they run smooth. They're very easy to set up. Each one comes with a little card here. It tells you the channels. This is the receiver card. The transmitter comes with a card as well. I'm much happier with this system here, and it works much better. However, I was not able to find many videos on how to connect these two devices using the Fatshark Dominator goggles. So I'm going to do a quick video on that. When it comes in, this device here, or this cable, has a green and a white wire connected. Those are the audio cables. I decided to remove them as I don't really need the audio. It's almost unimportant to me. Call me naive, I don't know, but I don't really use it. So I also am using a GoPro, which I am filming this with, is the GoPro. So I've got to kind of deal with that. You'll understand what I'm talking about in a little bit. I bought a GoPro connector that basically has a breakout cable and connects all, I believe it was five pins. I don't remember how many I took off. I know there's definitely 4. It might be 6. So this here was something that's very important. You must have a correct GoPro cable, as the pin loadout is different between a regular mini USB to a GoPro mini USB. There's more pins in the GoPro mini USB. If you do get the GoPro thing, I got mine off of Hobby King. It has a yellow, black, red, black cable. The yellow is the video signal. The black, I believe, is the ground, and the red is the power cable. Nope, I'm wrong. The red is the power cable. Yes, the black is the 5 volts to the camera. So right now I'm running the camera off the battery. When I plug this into the camera and power the receiver, it's going to put 5 volts to the camera so I can charge it. It is, but you do have to know that it is the black wire in between the red and the yellow cables. That is the easiest way to remember it. It's those two. You only need the 3 to charge and get the video back to the transmitter. So, with that said, the transmitter and the receiver comes with 2 antennas. They're just regular dipole antennas, and it comes with a couple cables. This one here, I'm just going to show you the ends. This is one cable. It's kind of long, nothing crazy, but it's regular JXT connector, and it's going to go to a barrel connector. The barrel connector, I'm going to plug it in right now, will go to the receiver. So it's a DC in, barrel connector goes in. That's it. Now, this here I'm going to set aside. This is what I'm going to connect, what I'm going to power the receiver on. I actually use a 3S LiPo, which is just this one, just for testing. And this might be the one I end up using. It might not be. I don't really know. But I'll plug it in right now. Actually, regular JST connectors. It turns on. Okay. One thing we have known from other videos, I've known from other videos, never power the transmitter without an antenna on it. It does cause, with the antenna gone, there's no place for the signal to go, and it will come back in and fry individual components on the board here. And it's pretty serious. This one here actually comes totally glued on. It takes a little bit of force, as you can see. It took pliers and a vise for me to really, it's not plugged in, so it took a little bit of work for me to get this thing to turn off of this, because I do plan on replacing it with cloverleaf or circular polarized antennas, but you can see there is a little bit of glue on the edges there. So for the demonstration here, I'm still going to use these dipole antennas. I'll show you why I'm not changing them for the demonstration. Come on, get on there. Excuse me. So tighten that up here. Still got the 5.8 gigahertz dipole antenna. Now, the Immersion RC antenna and everything else, they all had an RP SMA connector, which is the female version, or the male to female. I don't know. It's kind of a weird system that they use here. These here, it's a female center coaxial hole. This here is the male center coaxial hole, goes around the female outer. This is an SMA connector. This is an RP SMA connector, but it can be different based on the connection on the outside as well. So you have to be very careful and figure out exactly which ones you have and which ones you want to get. I actually ordered, here's another one. I ordered a 90 degree to be able to plug into each side. I had 2 of them to be able to plug into each side of the transmitter and the receiver. However, this is a SMA connector on the inside here. It needs to be an RP SMA, and mainly because, like, say this is the transmitter. If I pull this off again, there is still the male SMA connector there. So I have ordered another set of 90s that will perform to this. Basically, they're both female SMA connectors on both ends, and they will perform exactly as I need them to. But that's something to be very wary about. These connectors are male SMA to the male, outside. I don't understand how they actually classify it. It would be so much easier if it was one thing was one way and one thing was another way, but no, they kind of mix it up. So I'm gonna put this dipole back on just to show you again. Sorry, should have done it before, but I didn't. So now that I have these two things all sitting here, it came with these two cables. This here I like to power with a 2S battery. This here is just two 2S batteries in parallel, and it gives me a little bit more capacity, and it'll make it run a little bit longer, pretty much double as long. So before I even plug that in, I'm going to reset the Fatsharks back up here. The Fatshark Dominators do come with cables. The cables that they come with is one end is this one, which is basically a headphone jack with 4 connectors, and another one is the power connector. Then there's a red, white, and yellow AV connector, and then 2 other power connectors. For my situation with this receiver, I'm not going to be using the power connectors. I'm going to be using a separate battery that's going to power the Fatsharks, because I do not have a power out on this receiver. If I did, I would power this through the battery powering the receiver. It's a little bit redundant, but this is the system that I have. It doesn't matter if you find a different power method, by all means, use it up. So basically, the receiver also will come with another cable, which I don't see here. There it is. Okay, another cable. It's going to have the same headphone jack, and then a red, white, and yellow cable. Video and 2 audio left and audio right. Now, this receiver has 2 AV outs. One will go to your monitor. Another one some people like to put to a DVR to record stuff much easier and things like that. So I'm just going to put this in one AV, and then I'm going to use the cables here that came with the Fatshark. I'm only going to really plug in the yellow, as this is the video. Like I said, I'm not getting any audio because I took the audio cables out from the transmitter. So the only thing I'm really worried about is the audio, the video right now. And on the other end of this cable, it's a long cable. I'm going to look for actually a smaller one. So on the other end of this cable is the power cable and the other headphone jack. So from here, I'm going to plug the headphone jack into just right next to the power cable that from the battery, the power, the headphones, the goggles get powered from, is right here. So I'm going to power them up. I don't know how much you can see, but basically they just turn gray. Now, I'm going to plug this cable here into the outlet, or the plug right next to the power cable. There are 2 plugs. The one on the bottom here is headphones. If I wanted to listen to sound, I could easily listen to sound, but the multi-rotor is so noisy. You could, if you want to hear things going on with the multi-rotor. I don't need it. Mine's stable enough. So I'm going to plug this into this. Not that one. This one right here, and that will give me a decent signal. And it's actually right now, because I do not have the transmitter powered on, it's giving me static, which is good. That's good. It's a good thing. So now, when I power the transmitter on, like I said, you have to make sure your antenna's on. And the other thing is we have to plug it into the GoPro. So the GoPro here, I don't exactly know what the charge is. It is, from what my phone tells me, about halfway. So I'm not even. It's not even a little. It's a little less. So I'm going to plug this into the side of the GoPro. When I do that, the GoPro should start charging. And also transmitting through the cable. It's not showing it's charging. It should be. However, it might be a little different when it's actually recording before I plug that in. Whatever. I don't know. Oh, right. It's still not charging because I didn't plug the transmitter in. So now that everything's turned on, you can plug the transmitter in without plugging it into the GoPro, but I didn't for some reason. So here we go. Here's a 2S battery powering the transmitter. So transmitter powers up. My phone does say that battery's charging now, and as you see, the fan's turning on and the light is on. So now this thing should be charging. I'm gonna move these over a little bit. They're a little close. So that's all you have to do, and it's gonna be difficult to see. You're just gonna be seeing into yourself. I don't really know how this is gonna work. Basically, you see that it's there because it's gonna totally just look into everything, and there it is. It is transmitting, and that is the number one thing that I need to show you guys how to set that up to do. If you do have the module in place on the goggles, there is a switch on the bottom here that turns the module on and off. I don't believe if the module is not in there, it shouldn't do anything, but you can still use the module and the input together and switch back and forth once the module's in there. I have it out, so it doesn't matter what that switch does. So I hope I was helpful. If I was helpful, please like the video. If I was not helpful, tell me what I can improve on. And yeah, so good luck flying. I hope everything goes well for everybody, and have a good night.